time for Sunday school. Do you want to come to Sunday school? Come here. Let's see if Sweet Pea joins us today. Oh, thank you. Alright. We got the loyal dog. So we're ready for Sunday school. Thank you for clicking on this video. We are so glad that you have joined us today. Whether it's your first time attending or you're a repeat participant. This is part of my studio audience here in my lovely house. I have 3 lovely attendants. Sometimes they enjoy it. Sometimes they're rather perturbed. Anyways, I'm so glad you are here. We are in our series of Blazing Hot for God. And we are on our 4th lesson. If you you've watched the last episode, I made a faux pas, a mistake. I said that we would be learning about wildfire, God's wildfire. But I misspoke. We are on a different lesson. I write all these down before I do them, but sometimes I forget which one's which. But our lesson this week is you are God's kindling. Y'all know what kindling is? It is what you use to start a fire. The wood, the other stuff. So, here's what we're going to do first. We're going to start with our project. If you haven't noticed, my helper has decided to join the rest of the audience again. She's taking a nap. Apparently I'm boring. Anywho. So, this is our project. We're going to start with that so that we don't run too long here. So, this is our project. If you haven't noticed, it's a log. Yeah, my Sunday school class was really like, what is that? It's a log. It's not a regular colored log. It's not brown. I'm like, well, our personalities are not just brown. The color of our personality is multicolored. And since this is a fire of you're the fire, why can't it be other colors? Because you, in your entirety, are all sorts of colors. So, I decided to make these logs all different colors. So, if you want to do it, if you're a Sunday school class teacher and you are looking for a project for this particular lesson, or you are looking for a lesson let's get started here. What you're going to need is some crowns, your colored paper, your glue, your scissors, and the circles for the bottom. Right there, like that. And you're going to need this thing. Now this is probably the most work of all of it. What you do is you take string. You can use yarn, as long as it's a big, rather, decent sized string, and you glue it underneath, and then you take foil, crumple it up because it adds a little bit more texture, and then first you glue the string on. You can do it in lines, or if you want, you could do it in patterns, whatever you wish to do, because it adds the texture to the outside. You'll see what I'm doing later. And then you wrap your piece of cardboard in the foil, and this will help create your bark around your log or your kindling. And so you need your paper. I've already did this one, but already created color for this one. Colored this one. It's over here. But I'll demonstrate real quick. I'm trying to take as less time as possible so we can get to our lesson here. And then you pick out your crown. Whatever color you feel like doing, you do it. As long as it shows up on the paper. I'm gonna, so that you can actually see it, I'm gonna use the black one. What you really want to do, but I don't want to strip these, is you take the paper off of your crown. If you've ever done one of those, stencil things, you use a leaf or something, you put it underneath your piece of paper, and then you use the crown or a colored pencil or whatever you have. Don't use marker or paint, it just don't work right. But you take this and you take your covered piece of cardboard and you just run it over it real quick. Now if you take off the piece of paper, it gives a better, it looks better, but again, I don't want to desecrate my crowns by taking the paper off. Now you don't have to do the complete piece of paper because you're going to roll it up and, glue it together. Then we are it doesn't look as cool as the white one. The white one turned out really good. But because I used two different colors, it turned out a little weird, but it should look about like that. And then you want to open your glue container. That might help. Put the crown up. If I don't put it up now, I won't remember. Alright. Now you want to roll up your paper after you open your glue. And you want to start from the side, one side or the other, doesn't matter. But since I didn't color my paper all the way, I'm going to do it this way. And you want to roll it up like you would roll up a cinnamon roll. And the thicker your paper, the harder it's going to be to roll. But at first you want to roll it really, really tight because it will help it when you want to actually glue it. See? Because it'll kind of just stay that way. Alright. And you want to make sure it's just, do it one more time. I want to make sure it's good. Take glue. Put it on the last one here. About, I'd say about a half. It doesn't have to be the entire paper. You're only going to be doing the end of it. So that'd be about 1.5 inches, maybe 1 inch. See? Okay. Now we're rolling it up again. Don't roll it as tight as you did the first time. You want it to look like a log. And when you get to your end, make sure you take some special care. So it'll be like this. There we go. Now, to create our ends, this is the hardest part of the entire thing. Well, for the child or for, creating the log itself. This part for you, when you create this, will be the hardest part. Oh wait, I still need this. Alright, you're going to take 2 matching pieces of your circle. You want to cut like you were making a sun around the outside. So there'd be like little triangles. Put this up here. See? Like that. And you want to bend it up. Like this. Okay? Not all the way. You want to keep it kind of just enough that it will fit into your log. Okay. And while I'm working on this, I'll start our lesson. Yes, we're almost done here. The object of this is while you're telling your lesson, the kids can make as many logs as they want. Of course, you're going to need to help them if you are a Sunday school teacher. If you're listening to this because you want to learn more about the Bible, you can skip this part. All right. Alright, so our lesson. I asked God for some, a whole bunch of scriptures and stuff, but God only gave me one. But He also gave me a lesson. Originally, before Jesus came, they would do sacrificing. And so they would take the life of a bull or a pigeon or dove, and of course sheep, particularly lambs, the younger, mostly first years, and they had to be completely clean. When Jesus died, you became the offering. He sacrificed His life, and in return, you offer your life. And that sacrifice, like, you're it. You see, they had so many rituals behind these sacrifices. I mean, you had to do certain things and all that. When Jesus took that all away. But even the wood, it had to be specifically done. And now you become the offering. You become the whole thing. Now, last lesson, if you've watched it, or if you haven't watched it, let's just go do it. We learned about the oil and the flame. And in it, we talked about how we have the oil inside of us and God is the flame. And the wick is Jesus, and the vessel is us. Well, we can be a little flame like in the oil lamp, or we can be a big flame. See, God is immensely huge. He's ginormous. But he only takes of us what we give him. So, if our lives are an offering, we can be the little one, or we can be a big one. You know what? Let me explain the big one. You see, when we made these logs, you see, I finished it. And we can take the oil and the flame, even the wick, and pour it out onto some logs, and we can make that little bitty flame into a big one. That can be us too. Our vessel is not contained in a little thing. We can be bigger too. You see, here's our lesson. For our God is a consuming fire. And so we have all the oil, we have to replenish it, you know. But if we are bigger, by giving God more of us, we can become a bigger fire. That means that God becomes hotter, more powerful through us. And how do we do this? We give God more time. We give God praise. We give God prayer. We give God us. You know, we want to pull back sometimes, you know, and not give God everything. But our God, because this verse is not just in Hebrews, it's also in 2 other books in the Bible, and there's another little thing at the end. For our God, for he is a jealous God. God's jealous? Oh yeah, God's jealous of whatever you put in front of him. He doesn't like that. He likes to be the biggest thing in your life. You know why? Because he is the biggest thing in the universe. And our fires and our flames in our life, we get so consumed with this world. It can squish our fires. And so that we are in a lamp instead of in, let's say, we can be in a fire pit. We could be in a brazen, which is another word for a, you know, it would be a little round hearth. We could be in a torch. Or we could be a big old wildfire. It's not how much, it's not us. Let me get this right. God, like I said, will only take as much as you give him. The more you give him, the bigger you become. The more your flame gets higher. The more it consumes. God can consume your entire existence. Because the world wants to consume you. God wants to consume you too. And he is a big consuming fire. And there's two different kinds of fires. Satan has a fire too. And it consumes and it destroys. And it makes things, it obliterates everything. It desolates everything. But God's flame, which is a holy, consuming fire that doesn't just consume, it doesn't destroy, it rebuilds. It makes things so much cleaner and better. Not every time that there's a fire is it a bad thing. I mean, you can cook on a fire, you can get heat from a fire, you can have it just kind of presents itself in a way that makes you feel loved. It's a different kind of warmth. It just makes you feel comfortable and comforted. There's two kinds of fires. There's one that makes you feel horrible and it takes everything from you. And there's one that gives everything to you. And this fire one is a holy fire and one is a hellfire. Okay? And you can be God's kindling and make yourself this bigger fire, this bigger holy fire. And when you do that, other people come to you because they want to be around something that's good. Because ultimately, people want good things. And if you just, even that small little lamp can only provide so much light, can light an entire room. But imagine what a big old bonfire can light. And if we get together, well, that's next week when we learn about the wildfire. But I hope this lesson makes sense, and I hope you take, because this whole lesson plan is about being brazen. And it is to face with defiance or impertinence. And nothing says impertinence or defiance like being a consuming, blazing fire in a world that wants to squish and destroy. You want to be a holy fire, which is huge and glorious, and it brings everything good towards it. So take this verse to heart. Again, I got this one from Hebrews chapter 12, verse 29, but there is two other scriptures that say the same thing, but it has that little appendage on the end. Our God is a jealous God. And again, God will only take from you what you give him. And you can be in the little vessel, but you can be the big one. You can be a very controlled fire, only giving God, you're a little bigger, but you're only giving God so much. Or you can be a huge bonfire. Either way, God doesn't destroy. He only makes better. And it might seem sometimes that God's destroying everything, but sometimes he's cleaning it up. Again, next week's lesson. And next week we will be learning about wildfires. So, next lesson. Because you might have this, you might be watching this in the middle of, October, and it is August right now. So, if you want to do the logs, I hope you enjoy them. Again, your kids can make as many as they want, and you could throw them all together, or you can make individual fires. But that's this week's lesson. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you join us next time. I am Miss Wesley, and I love you. God loves you, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. So remember, no matter where you are in this life, you are loved. Goodbye.